This is the Bible of the electrogenic cell. It's not just the best book ever written on the subject, it's the only book ever written on this subject. Brought to you by supporters of Christ.
All right, so we up in here once again. Let's see how we look this way. Okay. I'm the only one that needs to move over. Okay, perfect. All right, so now we got all this tape was crazy junky right now. All right, so yeah, we live, gentlemen. Peace to the family. Shalom. Hotep.
Peace.
Peace to the gods, all everything, everybody. What we got going on today on Sunday school on Saturday?
Absolutely.
What you flipping open there, sir?
Oh, it's my cue to talk?
Always.
Okay.
It's on
All
you.
right. Okay. Well, so I got my Hebrew name on there this time, man. I don't Sham Wa'al. That's how you say it. Sham Wa'al.
All.
Kind. So basically, I wanted to ask you a few questions just as far as it pertains to health, because two things. One, I am co-lead over a committee we have where we're giving practical and spiritual edification on the people about health and wellness, fitness, nutrition. And we put out workout videos. We teach on stretching and practical things like that. But as far as in my experience, the hardest thing for people to do is change their habits as far as what they putting in their bodies. Okay, that's the hardest thing. Now I'm a former athlete. I can go and work out. That's no problem. But even for me, eating better, cleaner, more nutritious, I don't want to get too deep into macros and micros and vitamins and herbs. We can talk about that, but just as a whole, one, again, how to help people, because man, we got people on, diabetic. We got, I inherited, me personally, I inherited high cholesterol from my mother and father. All right. And so when I eat meat, my numbers get up there. Specifically when I eat red meat, my numbers get high. But when I'm not eating meat, I notice my numbers, drop tremendously. So that's one side. The second side is, my belief. I believe that Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans are indeed the people of the book. And I'm gonna read something to you, and then I kind of want you to. And this is, I'm gonna post this on our Patreon channel, where it's open up to people that don't know about you, never heard about you, don't know who Dr. Inky is, never read a book, you know what I mean, never heard you talk, don't know your background, and don't know really this side of health. So I'm gonna read this. I'm gonna read just a couple verses. So this is Deuteronomy 28, and we use this to give a sound foundation as to who the people are. And when we read this, our belief is that primarily the people that suffer from these conditions are, again, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. Other people do, but primarily we got the highest rate of, the bad stuff. So I'm gonna read this.
Wait. What you reading again? Go ahead.
Deuteronomy chapter 28.
Okay. 28.
Okay.
The whole chapter, or
No, sir. I'm gonna read verse 1, and then I'm gonna jump to verse 15, and then I'm gonna jump to another passage of scriptures in this book. So this is Deuteronomy 28:1. And it shall come to pass if thou shalt hearken, and I'm reading from the King James Version. And it shall come to pass if thou shalt hearken diligently unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe and to do all his commandments, which I command thee this day, that the Lord thy God will set thee on high above all nations of the earth. All right, that's verse 1. So now I'm going to jump to verse 15. Verse 15 says, but it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Lord thy God, to observe to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So verse 1 through 14 is an outline of the blessings that would happen upon our obedience, since we entered into a covenant with the God of the Bible. Verse 15 through 68 is extreme detail about curses that would happen to the people if they disobeyed. So now from there, I'm gonna jump to verse 21, Deuteronomy 28 and 21, and it reads, the Lord shall make thee the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land whither thou goest to possess. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption. See, now we're getting into the bad health that we deal with even today. This is thousands of years ago. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and with a fever and with inflammation and with an extreme burning and with the sword and with blasting and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee.
Hold on.
Until
I need you to come back.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Matter of fact, I know. Let me do one better. I don't even know why I'm tripping. Okay, let's do this like this. Let's do this another way. All right. And you said this is verse what? Chapter 28, verse 21?
Yes, sir. I read 21 and 22.
Okay, 21. Let's just go 28. Boom. So that way we have something else going on, right? When we doing that, we can do this.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's beautiful.
Yeah, let's do it like that. Yeah, there we go. We up here like it's about that's I'm up here like it's amateur hour. Like I don't know what I'm doing. Hold on, man.
Right.
We gotta get this thing looking like how it's supposed to look. Okay, boom. I'm over here taking notes down. I'm about to stop you or rewind you when we both had this on the big screen. All right, so yeah, go ahead. Do that one more time.
All right, I'm gonna start at verse 21 again. This is Deuteronomy 28 and 21, and it reads, the Lord shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee until he have consumed thee from off the land whither thou goest to possess it. The Lord shall smite thee with a consumption and with a fever and with an inflammation and with an extreme burning and with the sword and with blasting and with mildew, and they shall pursue thee until thou perish. Now these are all negative health connotations. All right. Now I'm gonna jump to, if you could jump to verse 61 on the screen.
Verse what? Same verse, same chapter.
Same chapter, verse 61.
Yeah.
All right. Verse 61 reads, also every sickness and every plague which is not written in the book of this law, them will the Lord bring upon thee until thou be destroyed. So,
God is tough.
Right. This is all negative health impacts that we suffer from today. Now, I like to read. I like to do research and all of that kind of stuff. Paul's opening my eyes to a whole other level of health. So I got to get into that now. But historically, Blacks, Hispanics, Native Americans, we suffer from the highest cases of high cholesterol, diabetes, sickle cell, blood pressure. I mean, you name it, cancer, accidental ways to die. We suffer from these things historically and have for generations now. It's passed down, you know, from seed to seed. Again, even myself, I suffer from high cholesterol. I found this out when I was 19, a young man, and I
Well,
was like, whoa.
here's what I would offer, and here's what I would offer instead of maybe saying it's passed down seed to seed.
Mm-hmm.
What I would say maybe is, so everybody has differences in their genetics, right? And the genetics are the things that are definitely passed down seed to seed. And there's based on our genetics, we have particular proclivities. And if you are, say, right, a Black person,
Mm-hmm.
you're from, or your people are from somewhere around the equator, right? We can just say historically that's where Black people come from, closer to the equator, the hot environment, which is the main reason why we have much more pigment expression than other folks.
Okay.
Now, what goes along with that? What goes along with that and what becomes problematic is that along with the more pigment, we're supposed to be in an environment with more sunlight. So vitamin D deficiency also is coupled alongside high cholesterol. The reason why vitamin D deficiency is coupled to high cholesterol is because our body is designed for the light to convert the cholesterol into vitamin D.
Okay.
And based on your blueprint, right? So if you're from a colder region, typically your body's going to produce less cholesterol because there's less sunlight to turn over. If you're from a warmer region, your body's going to have a higher production of cholesterol because you're supposed to be getting a lot more sun, which means you're supposed to be making a lot more vitamin D.
Okay.
So not being in the sun, most of us are not, right? We got work, we got school, we got families. So we're indoors. Problem number one. Problem number two, the typical diet is high in animal sources of cholesterol. So when you take into consideration that you're not metabolizing your own cholesterol because you're not getting the sunlight, when you add more cholesterol to it, you just add into the cholesterol that's kind of sitting there because your body doesn't have, cholesterol is like a substrate that your body turns into other stuff, but it uses the sun as a catalyst to transform the cholesterol to start that process. So that's really the real issue, is that we're not outdoors, we're not in the sun, and we don't do the exercise, because exercise is another part that can help our bodies metabolize cholesterol, because again, cholesterol is not only a substrate for vitamin D, it's a substrate for most of our anabolic hormones as well.
Right.
So yeah, that's the problem with the cholesterol. So it may not be, and people may kill me for this because we are a plant-based platform, right? That's not our focus, though. That's not our focus. But so they might kill me, but it may not be the red meat per se killing you, right? Even though you notice when you eat the red meat, your cholesterol shoots up. So common sense says, stop eating red meat or you get dead, right? That's right. But here's the thing. And here's where kind of some problems pop up. You have a history as an athlete.
Yes.
So as an athlete, if you ate those same things in the same portions, when you in your and when, what we talking football?
Track.
Oh, even worse. Even worse.
Mm.
So in the track space, you outside.
Right.
So not only are you doing you doing explosive work with endurance work, you outside in the sun. So now if you eat that same amount of red meat, that cholesterol is almost invisible. Your body is going to metabolize that. And we usually associate that with like the metabolism that we think of like in terms of fat and muscle. We don't think about cholesterol being metabolized into vitamin D and testosterone and those other things, right? But yeah, that's a big part of it. So what happens with athletes is that athletes have such a high exercise, and then there are other things that are intangible that we don't think about, like just being outside, right? Just being outside has a completely like it changes your body's whole metabolism, because cholesterol is pivotal. It sits in between, the circulatory system, heart disease, high blood pressure. That it's just, it's one of those players that just kind of sits in the middle there. And if your body is metabolizing your cholesterol fine, a lot of other things just follow suit, because, vitamin D has a downstream effect on the angiotensin and renin system, which have an impact on your high blood pressure. And so all of those things kind of fall in line. But on the flip side, when it's not being metabolized properly, then, you have some other stuff like that. So anyway, I don't want to spend forever. How long we have you here?
Man, about 30 more minutes. Tops. 30 more minutes tops. And then because I'm writing down questions. We're not gonna get to all of these. We can come back and do part 2 of this, part 3, part 12, whatever. But I kind of want to dive into some books because well, first I want to get into who you are, because I would like people to purchase your books. So can we get into who
We
you
only
are?
got 30 more minutes. We gotta they'll find out about me later. We gotta get to the work, man. I'm less important than the work at hand. I am much less important than the health information and the work. People, I'm a black guy from a Bronx in 158th Street with a bunch of children. My daughter almost died. I healed her up, and then bam, here we are.
Well, real quick, do you have a story? Like, I mean, like getting into that with your health and how you got into this?
I got a bunch of stories, to be honest. But the biggest thing was I had, before I have Amber, right? So see, he's gonna get me back. He's gonna get somehow we see he's a good salesman. We're gonna come back to we're gonna he came for this story. He ain't leaving without it.
Got it.
Right? Okay, so the first big thing that happened was my heart stopped. Yeah, my heart stopped. I was on the way to moving from I was on my way moving from New York to Atlanta, and the day that we were supposed to move, I had a seizure. I don't have a history of seizures. Seizures not in my, I think I had celebrated a little bit too hard the night before, and somebody might have slipped me a Mickey. But I had a seizure and my heart stopped. And so, that's a whole thing,
Right.
Whoop, flatline, heart stop. You know what I'm saying? So that's the first thing. But I kind of hit the ground running after that moment. Like everything was pretty much different for me. I had written one book at that time. I had 3 children, and today I have written over 200 books, and I now have 10 children. So from that moment, I don't like to waste time. So there are certain things, even with my health, that I need to definitely do better. Sleeping is one of them, but
Man.
I just something in me just is like I gotta keep going. I'm gonna get plenty of time to sleep. I'm gonna get plenty of rest at some point. You know what I'm saying? But I gotta keep writing my name in graffiti on the wall. But also I feel like, I don't really talk about it much, but I feel like there was I made a contract with God in those moments. And so I kind of got to keep that going. And that's the deal on my side. I got to keep sharing this information and teaching this information and doing that. As long as I do that, things pretty much seem to work out for me. So there's that. Fast forward in the future, I have two more. Yeah, fast forward, I have at the time, I want to say, I have 6 children. Yeah, 6. Yeah, I think I had 6 at the time. No, 5. Anyway, fast forward, I have some more babies, right? And my daughter, 3 of my daughters are walking home from school, right? And this is what really brung me to this moment, to this space. They're walking home from school, and a nurse, of all people, she had been up for three shifts or 3 days, something like that, some crazy work thing. And that's how I became intimately acquainted with the fact that the American health system is understaffed.
Right.
Way before there was a COVID, need for nurses and doctors and interns, et cetera, et cetera. This had been going on for years. But so she was overworked or whatever. This is what comes out later on in the court stuff. Is anyway, she falls asleep at the wheel. And when she falls asleep at the wheel, she jumps onto the sidewalk and she runs into my 3 ladies. Now, not listening to me as usual, right? Because I trained them this a million times. The littlest one goes on the inside. Like you size order, they totally the opposite way. My little one, which is Amber at the time, is on the outside, closest to the curb. Then there's the oldest one at the time, and then Tony is on the inside. And so the oldest one is kind of like holding both of their hands, but Amber is on the outside. So when the nurse hops the curve, the smallest one gets the main impact from the car. Now, when she hops the curb and she hits the children and she hears all the kids yelling and screaming, because this is after school, so it's not just my babies there.
Right.
All of the screaming, she wakes up and then, like she tries to jam down on the brake and she winds up jamming down on the gas. Right. So I'm at work. I'm working at Verizon at the time. And, at some point I get the phone call. They're in the hospital. I get to the hospital. Everybody's already there before me. And they all crying and looking crazy and all that. And so I'm asking the doctor, what's happening? What's the deal? And so the doctor's like, well, she's probably not going to make it through the night. And, she's just, there's not much we can do for her. And, you should just be with the family and this and all that, all of that sucker type of vibe, like I don't, that my mind don't process that information like that anyway. So I was like, I started asking questions. Can you do this? Can you do that? And it was just like, nah, we haven't done this and we don't really want to try this. We don't want to do this and this and this. I was like, yo, unplug my baby off all the machines. We transfer her to a different hospital. The hospital was like, what? There's no way. She's not strong enough to make it to another hospital. I said, well, hold on. What does that mean? It was like, what's the chance that she could die? I said, yeah, but y'all not doing anything in here. So if we stay here, she's going to die. In fact, y'all are telling me to get the family ready for her dying. No, This is how we prepare to die. We prepare to die by fighting to the last moment. So you can pack her up, unplug her. If I need to sign something, I'll sign something. We going to the next hospital. So they bring in a bunch of people to try to convince me otherwise. Anyway, we wind up going to the next hospital. The next hospital was kind of similar. They was on the same type of vibe. You know, it was kind of gloomy and blah, blah, blah. You shouldn't have left the last hospital. I was like, man, wrap it up. We're going across the bridge. We take us to Manhattan. So we go to Columbia, which is at the time, I don't know the status now, but at the time, Columbia and Manhattan was the like the #1 hospital for pediatric triage, or hopefully I'm saying that the right way. No, pediatric trauma. Like, so people would fly their children in from other spaces in the Northeast, area, in the Northeast coast of America, like the whatever those 10 states are right there. Like, that was the #1 hospital for pediatric trauma. So I was like, all right, we're going over there. And we get over there, and they start doing their thing. I'm doing my thing, praying, talking. Me and God is locked in. I'm blocking everybody else out. I can't even hear nothing else. I'm not even looking at her mom, because her mom is with whatever they talking about. So I don't want to hear nothing from you. You was consigning my baby off to death. Nobody talk to me. We going to the... So anyway, we get over there and we get to Columbia. They have they come back. They do their thing for a little while. They come back and tell me to listen, we have her stable. She'll make it. But we don't think that she'll ever be able to walk again. There's chances are she'll probably never walk again, and definitely not without maybe some help or whatever the case may be. Like, she'll need some stuff to walk or whatever. Mm-hmm. Her spine was broken in 3 places. Her pelvis was crushed. Her left leg was crushed. Her foot was crushed. All that. So I'm excited. They can't understand why I'm excited. I'm like, yo, they like, so did you hear what we just said? I said, right. Yeah, but we just left 2 hospitals where they said she was going to die in a couple of hours. So now you said she's going to make it through the night, right? I'm like, I'm good. So we do that, and then eventually, she's in ICU, there's a whole thing that goes on in there. We get her stable. Long story short, I wound up, doing a lot of her work and rehab myself and get her back walking within like 6 months. So, yeah, so that was a thing. Praises. And then the way that story had unfolded, which caused so much problems inside the family, because everybody the whole way, like, I was redirecting the doctors there, stopping them from feeding her and changing what they was feeding her, and all. I was just a lot. But I knew what I was doing. You know what I'm saying? I at least I thought I did. It worked out. It worked out well. So in hindsight, I definitely knew what I was doing. But at the time, it was a difficult situation. And because I was at odds with everybody, when it worked in my favor the way I said it would, it was kind of like a self-initiating aha moment. And so people slowly from that time forward start to come to ask me if I knew other things. Mm-hmm. Hey, you know about this, you know about that. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And so, those 2 moments, and I could probably expound a lot more detail on them, but those 2 moments are the 2 moments that contributed most to Dr. Inky.
Okay.
Yeah, those are the 2 moments. I tried to condense those stories as much as possible so we could still milk this 26 minutes and a half that we're supposed to have.
He counting it. Look. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Okay, so with my audience that's going to see this, so we have, we got single folks, we got mothers, we got fathers, we got pregnant people, we got a lot of young babies in the camp. So the average Black or Hispanic watching this video, what is the first step or the first few steps you would advise them to take to improve their health? outside of, well, just whatever you want to say, whether it's exercise, whether it's getting outside, whether it's a certain diet, you know, what would you advise?
Interesting. What do you think I'm gonna say, Paul?
Repeat that question. So
He
I was
said
writing something
he
down.
said what do you, he said what would be the first step for somebody basically trying to live a healthier lifestyle, like trying to turn their life around. What do you think I would say?
Now, oh, I'm a laser pointed because
Go ahead. Step
this is this I want it to be more focused on men, but this can help the women as well.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because you mentioned testosterone, I kind of wanted to go into that. You mentioned vitamin D. I want to talk about that. People sitting at the house like, what is vitamin D? What is that? And what does it do? Matter of fact, let's talk about that first. What does vitamin D do?
Yeah,
You
so
gotta
Talk about
come,
the
wait.
sun.
You gotta come back with more time. You can't
I
just
know.
right.
This is just part one. I already know we're gonna have many more sessions, but people sitting at the house, why do I need sun? Why do I need to get outside? When do I need to get outside? Like, how am I gonna fit it in this busy schedule? You know what I mean? So talk about vitamin D first, then we'll talk about the importance of, you can probably tie vitamin D into the importance of getting outside in the sun.
Well, here's the thing, right? And sometimes, you know, sometimes I have a way of being colorful and entertaining, but sometimes I'm just cut and dry. And people are looking for me to say something else, and it's just kind of like, well, no, this is it. So you figure out how to do the vitamin D thing or get dead.
Mm.
That's just, it's not really that much room to play with vitamin D.
Right.
So you can okay. Yeah, see, appreciate you for the super chat. This brother was supposed to be on with us. This is my partner right here, Mr. Lungs.
Okay.
Certified cardiopulmonary therapist. Like, so probably the next time you come back, we'll have him, and then it'll be, you know, even crazier. But he's also a reverend. Yeah, he's also a reverend. So
Okay.
he's very familiar with the Bible. And so,
Okay.
yeah.
Hey, and cousin, you got to have more time, man.
Oh,
You
I
gotta
know.
have
I
more
know.
time.
Yeah, because listen,
Next time
listen.
I'll have it.
What you don't understand is like one class is at least a minimum of 2 to 4 hours. Like
I know me and Paul.
Yeah.
Every time we get on the phone, it's at least 3 hours. At least 3 hours.
So here's the thing. Okay, so the basic way to understand, or the beginning of to understand vitamin D's importance, right, is the name of vitamin D, which is cholecalciferol. Right, we just say vitamin D, but more of a technical name for vitamin D is cholecalciferol. Right, the first part is chole, CHOLE. Right, that's because vitamin D helps to regulate the metabolism of cholesterol.
Okay.
The second part is calci, CALCI, right? Because vitamin D regulates metabolism of calcium.
Okay.
The last part is ferrol, because vitamin D regulates the metabolism of iron.
Oh, wow. Didn't know that.
So the next level to understand vitamin D, now you get those basic 3 parts, is what does calcium do? Right? And that's where the conversation of vitamin D and the bones come in, because vitamin D is helping your body to regulate calcium metabolism. And a big part of that is keeping it out of the circulatory system.
Okay.
Right? So then you have iron, which is important for blood, and oxygen and VO2 max and heart health. And it kind of circles us back around to the Bible. And that's kind of what I wanted to talk to you about, maybe, and maybe your people, is the concept of the Holy Ghost, the Spirit, inspiration. Do you know the etymology of those terms?
No, I'm not. I haven't mastered that, so I'm not gonna speak on that. I could be in error, but
Let's
go ahead.
look at that. I think it'd be incredibly beneficial for some of your people.
Okay.
Let me see if I can just get Google going here.
All right.
And we look at some of these terms, because for me, this was incredibly impactful, right? So let's take a look first at spirit. Okay, and of course we get Spirit Airlines. That is exactly what we wanted. Spirit Airlines. Because the number one killer is heart disease.
Right.
Right. So that is the thing. And I think that the Bible has a very particular message about this. I think the Bible has a very particular message about this. So if we look here at the etymology of spirit, right, we get the breath, breathing, respiration, inspiration, the breath of life, right? And so if we go here in the Bible, right, this is the moment when, right, we go Genesis chapter 2, verse 7, God breathed into his nostrils the breath of life and man became a living soul. This to me is one of the most, if not the most important verse, one of the most important verses in the Bible. Right here. This is the thing that we should be striving to protect and to improve. Right? And so understanding this becomes super important. So we flip back around here. Right? And this is just perusing. This is just perusing. Let me see what else we should do. Let's go to heart. Here, matter of fact, let's just skip to this. How many people know that the actual term cardio comes from the Bible? Now think about that. How many people would be more inspired? How many people would be more inspired to cardio if they knew that our cardio comes from cardia, which is the Greek word for heart in the Bible? Right? So we have here cardia, right, which is the origin of our term cardio, right, for the heart, right? And then we have respiration, right? We have respiration, which basically is the job of the blood, right? And then before that, if we go back to the beginning, right? And this is just a real quick look at it, maybe to spark some interesting conversation. But we have a nice Hebrew complex of words, right? There's a Hebrew complex of words, right? So we have the word Adama, right? Are you familiar with that?
Yes.
What does that mean?
Adam, mankind.
And then what about the Dam?
I'm not familiar with that.
Blood.
Blood.
Yeah, so you have that complex of words, Adama, Adam and Dam
Okay.
gives you blood, the earth, the ground, and mankind.
Okay.
Right. So if we think about the blood's job is to carry the breath.
Okay.
The blood's job is to carry the breath. And that happens through the heart. So there are, which is cardio, right? So there are some very particular verses about God and your cardio.
I got you.
There's some very specific verses about God and your cardio.
Okay.
And because we use the English translations, right, we totally miss some of the impact that would be had if we looked at the term spirit to be the breath.
Mm-hmm.
And if we put the importance on the breath that we should put on the breath, which we don't. We think that it's an automatic thing that we guarantee because it was the first thing given to us when we jumped outside the womb. Boom. We just start breathing and we never took a look back at it. But we don't realize the fact that heart disease is the #1 killer means that we all have a problem breathing. Because that's what the heart, that's like the job is the breath. That's what's happening. The heart is moving the blood around so that the blood can move the breath around. And we don't really relate the heart, the blood, or heart health to the breath.
Right.
And we don't think of it as holy or divine or something that we have to appreciate or work at or be thankful for. You know, people pray for new sneakers, new promotion, new job. Nobody is thankful that they have air, fresh air.
Oh, I am. Every day.
Yeah, you know,
I get what you're saying. I get what you're
Yeah.
saying.
So I think that would help people to understand, like, well, the basis of your health is right in here. So it's not inside. This book has the keys to, you know, the basic blueprint of what we need to be doing, especially if we jump into Corinthians, where it says that, you know, the body is the temple, right, of God. But then you look up the word that's used there for temple, and it's actually the Holy of Holies when you translate it into the Greek. So what's actually being communicated is that your body is the Holy of Holies of God. So it would give you a different perspective on how to take care of your body. You know, we make sure the kitchen is clean, we make sure the bathroom is clean, but we don't make sure that our body on the inside is as clean.
Right.
So I think some of those things would help the perspective in terms of getting people inspiration, right? Getting people inspired to inspiration to maybe get their 2,000, 3,000, 5,000, 10,000 steps a day.
Right.
Because if you understand what walking does, you know, walking drastically changes the way your body circulates the blood. Right. The way your body circulates the blood is the way your body circulates the breath, and the way your body circulates the breath is the way your body circulates the spirit. Okay. And when we look at what the breath does, the breath has to be coupled to your metabolism. The breath is what helps to metabolize all of the food you eat.
Okay.
So when you break down, for instance, when you get into the body, right, we have digestion, then we have metabolism. But digestion and metabolism end with cellular respiration, the very same thing we see there as a definition for the word spirit. Okay. So digestion, your body breaks the food down. Metabolism, your body moves the food to the target areas, right? Okay. Once it gets into the cells, you have beta oxidation and you have the Krebs cycle, right? Okay. Beta oxidation, the metabolism of fat has everything to do with oxidizing the fat so that it becomes usable. Okay. In terms of once you get to the Krebs cycle, your body has to separate the hydrogen from the carbon. the carbon has to be turned back into carbon dioxide so your body can get rid of it through the blood. So your body brings the oxygen in through the blood to get the waste products of all the food out and take that back out through the blood. So your body's ability to metabolize food and turn it into energy is dependent upon how much oxygen you can get in. So what happens with people with diabetes, what happens with people who are obese, is their respiration and their metabolism become uncoupled.
Okay.
Their respiration and metabolism become uncoupled. I know this might be too technical for the audience we trying to get. I know, but my point is, let's just, we'll come back out of the science. We'll move back away from this. My point though is understanding the importance of how we breathe.
Okay.
Understanding the importance of getting light. Now, you asked about the light, the type of light we need. Particularly, depending on the state you live in, America is in a UVB blackout for the winter months and some of the fall and the spring. Right. So on average, it is October to March. There is no UVB in most of America. When we do get UVB from the later time of the spring to the end of the summer, UVB is typically out from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. And UVB is the particular type of sunlight that converts cholesterol into vitamin D. So it's not just random sunlight. So you could be out, it could be sunny out, and that has no impact on your cholesterol or your vitamin D.
And that's in the South side, right?
Well,
the South,
in the South,
you
you
know.
get more. In the South, you get more. The UVB hangs around the closer you get to the equator. When you get to the equator, it's all year round. You have UVB.
Okay.
So you get to southern Florida, parts of Texas, some parts of Cali. You may not really have that much of an issue, but if you in Chicago, Detroit, New York, Philly, all of those places, it's a wrap. And so you have to then supplement. You have to get the vitamin D3. You got to supplement. You got to make that a priority.
Right.
You got to make that a priority, period. And that goes for the children and that goes for everybody. In Philly, I've seen the craziest vitamin D deficiencies because you have a huge Muslim culture there.
It is.
So, so the women are all covered up wearing those things, even when they're pregnant. So a lot of the children are born with bow legs. I know because I had incredibly bow legs when I was born. And, I had to wear those like wooden shoes and all of that kind of stuff to fix my legs. But that, in the Black community, we kind of look at that like, oh, that's sexy or that's cute or that's attractive to have bow legs. But really what that means is your mom was vitamin D deficient when she had you. Yeah. So you're probably vitamin D deficient now because what we pass down more strongly than anything is epigenetic signatures and bad habits.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? And bad habits. So yeah, that's what I would say. So on the basic side, right, I would say a cup of water every hour.
Okay.
Very simple. 1 cup of water every hour. And then try to count your steps. Try to count your steps. Get your steps up. The more steps you take a day, the higher your VO2 max goes, your ability to breathe, the efficiency at which your body handles oxygen, the levels of carbon dioxide you retain goes down. You start to immediately, without any focus or specific effort, you start to immediately metabolize more fat.
Okay. Right.
Because you're getting in more oxygen. And Fat has to be mobilized, and then it has to be oxidized in order for your body to be able to turn it into. That's why it's called beta oxidation. In order for your body to be able to turn it into to fuel. So I would say start with those things. But when you come back, we're going to have this Bible conversation, because I think if people really understood what's in there, they would
Right.
be more inspired to take care of their ability to breathe, to
Right.
take care of their heart, because that is like one of the main, God is checking on your heart throughout the Bible. Like there may not necessarily be a direct commandment on it, but throughout the course of the Bible, God is specifically like putting a focus on your heart. And so I think we overlook those passages in the Bible, especially with reference to the fact that heart disease is the number one killer. I think that we have an arrogance when it comes to modern science, especially in America, looking at the statistics.
Right.
Our country overall is the worst out of all well-to-do nations in health.
Yes.
We're the worst. And heart disease, the number one killer. So it just stands to reason that we have to look at all things that that pertain to cardiology and the heart and reevaluate some of the stuff, because clearly we don't know as much as we think we do.
Right.
So I would say that those would be easy fixes for people who are not really, and it has to become a priority. I think that if it becomes a priority, people figure it out. We live in
Right.
America. People on average spend 10 to 20% more money than they make every month.
Right.
Right. Why? Because if they want something, they'll figure out how to get it.
Figure it out. Yeah.
So the problem is not necessarily that people have obstacles in the way of making certain concessions for their health. They just don't have it prioritized.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? They don't have it prioritized. So, it helps the educational piece and figuring out what do you need to do to put your heart first. And can you even really be a good, person of the Bible if you don't put your heart first? Like, because I think that's the overall lesson in the Bible. I'll challenge anybody watching this video to go back, do some work, do some research on the heart in the Bible, especially now knowing that cardio comes from the word cardia, which is in the Bible. And I want to challenge folks to go back to the Bible and now change. When you read the King James Version of the Bible, I want you to swap out any place in the New Testament where you see the word heart. Just swap that out and put cardio in there and see how that message changes for you.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And anywhere else in the Bible where you may see the word spirit, swap out the word spirit with the word breath. Swap out the word spirit with the word respiration and see if that doesn't give you another perspective on those verses and help to motivate people to really take it, in a more serious way. Because if you got your breath, as Genesis chapter 2, verse 7 says, if you literally got your breath from God, if that's the thing, that's the gift directly you to him, what are we doing? Especially if heart disease is the number one killer. That means that we're not taking care of that.
Right.
Because that's the thing that circulates the spirit, and the blood is the thing that carries the spirit. So if that's where we're failing, that's another question that's another set of questions we have to start asking ourselves.
Right. Right.
So I would say that's the space to really probably dig into. And like I said, the easiest thing for people to do is start walking around.
Yes.
Start walking around. That is the easiest cheat code. Paul might tell you we got some music. We got some
headphones on. Let's go.
Yeah, we got some music, you know what I'm saying? If nothing else, if they can't find anywhere else, but get out there and start walking. Walk with your babies.
Right.
Walk in the rain, walk in the snow, walk in the sun. Walking in different temperatures. helps your body at another level. You know what I'm saying? So
That's
walking in
true.
cold weather is good.
That's true.
Yeah, because it gives your body, the reason why there's a such thing now as the cold therapy and ice plunge and all of these different things all of these new things that we're doing are compensations for us no longer doing them in our lifestyle. So when our lives were more active and we needed to be, a certain level of physicality was required for our daily food and sustenance, we didn't need a gym.
Right.
Once we didn't have to move around so much, now we need a place to go to get that same level of physical activity.
Right.
Once we start living in a system where it's 70 degrees year round, and we break the cycle of living in the natural system of seasons, which our body was developed in, and we have created a synthetic season for ourselves, which always between 68 and 72 degrees, no matter what time of year it is, no matter where you at, because everybody has their AC or their heater set somewhere between 68 and 72 degrees. That also sets your body into a pattern of obesity and potentially diabetes. And it's more impactful for people, again, who are from hotter climates, right? Because now you are in a year-round situation where you're always in a colder climate, in a colder climate with no sunlight.
Right.
So we got to get back into allowing, our body's brown fat and our body's black fat, the iron loaded fat that we have in our body to work and produce heat and help circulation. We have cross counter current heat exchange. That's important for our body to maintain circulation, and just some of the other things that we get from naturally just being outside. You know what I'm saying? Like we need to be outside. Like the young folks, you ain't outside. You know what I'm saying? You got to be outside.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So we got to get out there and get in the sun. Some of us may be in some dangerous neighborhoods where it might be, you may not want to walk around outside. Well, you got a challenge. You need to make some life changes and move from that neighborhood so you can get somewhere where you can,
Right.
yeah, so you can get somewhere where you can get outside. And then you have to make some concessions. Maybe, you got to get to school an hour early so you can do some walking at school, or maybe when you go to work, get to work an hour early so you can walk in that neighborhood, or maybe stay in that neighborhood an hour afterwards so you can walk in that neighborhood so you don't have to walk in your own. But the thing that you can't do is not do the work, right? Because the body has a gauge to maximize efficiency. And anything you don't need, your body will slow down on the production of, and actually maybe go in reverse, because all groups of tissue in your body require energy and maintenance. And muscle tissue and bone are really, really, really high maintenance tissue sets. So if your body doesn't need them, your body will break them down immediately.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And so, it takes a lot longer to build them up than to break them down. So, you definitely want to maintain the muscle tissue that is a part of your respiratory system and your circulatory system, and definitely not lose the ability to produce, nitric oxide to help circulate the blood and the oxygen, and some of those other little key pieces that make all of the difference, in terms of your health, especially as you get, let me not even say, because I was gonna say especially as you get older, but it's just a different need, right? Because when you're young and you're more active, you need those things for performance. But as you get older, you need those things to stay alive. So there's not really a point in time where you don't need these things. It's just the way we look at them kind of changes. But yeah, you always need that smooth muscle tissue to be able to help your body produce, nitric oxide to keep the blood flow what it needs to be, and make sure that you don't get any calcification in the tissues, and get atherosclerosis and that kind of stuff like that. So yeah, I would say the basics is, the first thing is, whoever watches this video, complain to the brother for coming here without enough time.
My apologies.
Yeah. And then on top of that, definitely drinking a cup of water, 1 cup of water, a little tiny cup of water every hour. And please don't try to go the whole day without drinking no water and then drink 1 gallon in 2 hours. It is not the same effect.
Right.
1 cup of water every hour, because the movement of your lymphatic system cannot be understated, right? So people that have diabetes issues and people that have obesity, they also have a quiet killer, which is a stagnant lymphatic system.
We're gonna have to go into that, but not today. We're gonna go into that.
Right. So, well, we kind of already addressing it, just getting folks to moving,
right,
and adding in a cup of water every hour.
Right.
Right. Those are the 2 things that is going to start the lymphatic system to moving. And once you move the lymphatic system, that's going to wash your brain at night and wash your heart. Literally, like putting your dirty laundry in a washing machine. So you have what's called the lymphatic system, and you have a pericardium sac around the heart. Both of those things circulate a very particular type of water throughout the unique lymphatic space for those organs, and it is required to keep those organs functioning at maximum capacity. So just on the basics, I think that would be, like just fresh air, clean water, like that's what we're supposed to be on. Fresh air, clean water, the things we overlook.
Right.
But that's why our health is challenged, because it's the basics that we, we're not on those. Fresh air, clean water, and the light of the world.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna read this. This comes out of the Apocrypha. These are the books that was taken from the Bible by the Protestant church. So this is Sirach or Ecclesiasticus. I'm gonna read 3 or 4 verses. This is chapter 30, verse 14. It says, "Better is the poor being sound and strong of constitution than a rich man that is afflicted in his body."
I like that.
Health is important. Verse 15.
I have wait. I have a book called The Constitution. See, now y'all know where I got it. Go ahead.
The people got to know where to buy these books.
Yeah.
All right. Verse 15. "Health and good estate of body are above all gold, and a strong body above infinite wealth." Verse 16. "There is no riches above a sound body, and no joy above the joy of the heart." Last verse, 17. "Death is better than a bitter life or continual sickness."
It's a bar.
What Dr. Inky just said, get some fresh air and a cup of water every hour. You can't do that, because I guarantee you, if you went to the doctor, whoever's watching, if you went to the doctor and the doctor said, "Hey, you got 6 weeks to live. If only you had exercised more, I wouldn't be saying this. All you had to do was exercise." I guarantee you'll find a way to go get some time outside and to get some water. I guarantee it.
Now wait, add to that, if you go to see God after you don't exercise and you die, and God asks you about your heart,
that's
like,
true.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
I gave you explicit instructions on taking care of that piece of machinery right there.
Right.
Why didn't you do that? And then you go, well, wait a minute, where was those instructions? Like, well, that same book you was reading, let's flip. That's Bible study, everybody. Right at the
same
gates.
Book.
Right at the gates of heaven, though. How about at the gates of heaven Bible study? Bust this out real quick.
Right.
You look crazy and flabbergasted. So I think that we need to check out those verses. We need to check out those verses. And those were some powerful verses you dropped right there at the end. I like that. So yeah, I think that's a good closing.
Well,
when are we doing part 3? Because this is technically part 2.
This is part 2. You're right. We can go. We can probably go next weekend. I'm gonna get with Paul and confirm, because I don't have my calendar. I'll get with Paul and confirm, But because do you do this every Saturday?
I do this with you.
Okay. Yeah, Saturdays May.
Yeah, this is Paul's video. Yeah, this is our thing. So this is we do this when we do this.
If we could go earlier, because I'm about to go to camp here. I'm about to stand out here and read this Bible for a couple hours. So if we could go early on Saturday, I could have longer time.
What time? What time is early?
Like 1.
Don't threaten me with a good time.
So I can go like 1. Yeah. I can go about 3 hours. If I could do 3 hours. If we went from 1 to like 1 to 4, 1 to 4:30, something like that, I could do that.
Yep, there you go. Lock it on in. Book it, Dano. Y'all heard it.
Oh.
So next week we going in. We'll have a little bit more time.
Absolutely.
For folks, this is your first time watching. I would say don't buy any books of mine just yet. Just relax. Wait till y'all see the next video. Watch this video. The only book you need now is the Bible. Go open up your Bible.
That's it.
Yeah, get you a Google search and start looking up these terms. I want you to go look up whether you use Strong's as your authority or whether you use the what is it, the Blue Letter Bible?
Blue Letter. You got the Zondervan.
There you go.
You know what I mean? Actually, I could show you both of them.
No. This is just homework for the people at home.
All right, cool. Yeah, you got the Strong's. You got the Zondervan. You got the Apocrypha I read from. You can get online. You got blueletterbible.com. What's the other one? Old Testament. It goes into the Hebrew. It'll show you the box script, the Paleo.
So that's what I want y'all to do. I want y'all to use those sources and go look up the words inspiration as used throughout the text, as used throughout the Bible. I want you to go look up the word spirit as used. I want you to look up, and when you do it, do yourself a favor and look up both versions, right? Find it in the New Testament, right? Because you look in the New Testament for heart and you'll find cardia. You look in the Old Testament, you may find nephes, right? Like when it says God blew the breath of life into man and he became a living soul. That word soul, nephes, also means heart, right? So look up those terms because it's very interesting that the heart is linked with breath and respiration right there. Like, so there's a lot of stuff that's kind of just sitting right there. And when you see how important the breath is, how important taking care of the heart is, those are the things I think will help to change. People think of the Holy of Holies and the importance that has when you get to the passages that says you are the Holy of Holies. Then what? How do we look at the temple? How do we look at the temple at that point? You know what I'm saying? So yeah, I want to challenge folks to get to the etymology of those terms, because I think that their view will change on the breath and even little sayings that we may have used over time, like save your breath. That becomes incredibly profound once we figure out what the breath really is.
Right. So
peace to the family. Can't wait to see what feedback you get.
Right.
People are gonna be like, is that guy wearing gold teeth? What is he talking about? That's wild. No matter where I have a conversation at, that's the first. Is he wearing gold teeth? Yep. Is that gold teeth in the video?
He said it.
Like, what? Yeah. He can't be. He doesn't know anything. He has gold teeth on.
Right.
All right. Peace to the family.
This is why you have to go to Amazon and get the book, Rich Abs, Poor Abs, now.